Good morning. Some opening words. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let its vision change your heart. These words are from William F. Schultz.
Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the entire congregation, I welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Shenandoah Valley. I am Sandra Henry Stocker, your worship associate for today's service. We come together each Sunday morning as a community of seekers of what is most important in our lives, seekers of understanding in the face of uncertainty and loss, seekers of forgiveness for our shortcomings, seekers of gratitude for the unexpected gifts we receive from all around us. We gather in awe of the beauty of nature and the mysteries of the universe. But most importantly, we come together as seekers of a community of love and empowerment, celebrating our search for truth and meaning in our daily lives. Now, as Alice Irvin comes forward, let us all say together here and from our homes the words for lighting our chalice. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, to share. Now we invite you to join us as we say our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help our neighbor. To these ends, we covenant one with another.
Today, we reflect on our journey through the pandemic over the last 2 years and also look ahead with hope for better days to come. With our opening work by Vivaldi, we celebrate being able to come together today as a community, both in person and virtually, and being able to resume many activities at this time. We particularly celebrate some things which we previously took for granted, things like seeing each other's smiles, and singing and making music together. Hear these words from the Song of Solomon. For now the winter is past, the rain is over and gone, the flowers appear on the earth, the time of singing has come.
Gloria, glory forever, Gloria Deo, Gloria in excelsis. Glory forevermore, sing hallelujah.
ages, we have a folk song titled Howdy Dowdy Diddlum Day. Over the last 2 years, many of us have found comfort and solace in nature, particularly during times when we needed to keep distance from others. Perhaps as you hiked through the woods or just sat on your deck, you paid closer attention to the sounds of nature than you might have in the past. Maybe you even imagined the animals were talking to one another. The arranger of our next song, Vicki Tucker Courtney, writes that folklore has always thought of the animals with human characteristics, including the power of speech. Even Mark Twain once commented that there was no question about the ability of animals to talk to each other. The question was whether or not very many people could understand them. Our next song, Howdy Dowdy Diddlum Day, is also known as Leather-Winged Bat. It's a traditional English folk song about a group of birds and a bat. Some versions sing about quite a variety of birds. We will be singing about a bat, a woodpecker, and a bluebird. So listen closely as they tell how they developed some of their physical characteristics.
Howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day. And a hey baby lie low, and a hey baby lie low. I said the little leathery bat, he'll tell you the reason that he flies like that is because he lost his heart's delight. Howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day. And a hey lie low. I said the red bird sitting on a pole, once he loved a handsome soul, but she got sleepy and she fled and never stayed. Since his hands been red, howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day. And a hey lie low. I said the bluebird as he flew, once he loved a young gal too, but she got sleepy and wanted to go, so he got a new string for his bow. Howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day. And a hey lie low. Howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day, howdy dowdy diddlum day. And a hey lie low, and a hey lie low, and a hey lie low.
And now we will have a time for silence following these words of meditation. As we hold in our hearts all that is going on in our world, including a war in Ukraine, the ongoing pandemic, and the deep political division in our own country, consider these words from Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. And now we have some time for silence. And now a prayer for our time by Kenneth Langer, who is a UUA member. Let me find peace within, so that I may be calm throughout. Let me find silence within, so that I might find compassion throughout. Let me be reminded that some things are worth waiting for. Let me be reminded that the journey is more important than reaching the destination. Let me see that the non-doing is as much a part of life as the doing. Let me be reminded that it is in these moments of holding on that I can find quietude and renewal. It is within these times of inaction that I can find rest. It is in these times of emptiness that I can become full. And now we will have our stewardship testimonial with Robert Hurt.
Greetings. This is about procrastination. I am the king of procrastination. That's why I'm up here right now, because I couldn't get anybody to do this testimonial. Yesterday, I was getting my tax stuff together. My license plates usually go a month before I get them renewed, and my inspection stickers are usually right on the line. I know procrastination. You procrastinators out there need a deadline. It's now. We've got about 60% of our goal from about 40% of our people that pledged last year. So we'd really like to see you out there pledging and getting this church a strong foundation. Also, everybody likes Sal, right? if we don't give Sal a good amount of money to play with the budget, he's gonna go crazy. So just for Sal, if nothing else, let's get that money in there. As far as the testimonial itself, I've been a member since '99. I think, might have had 9 to 10 ministers since I joined. A lot of you might know the story, but I came to the church because Lena pulled me to the church with the agreement that if I went to church, she'd take golf lessons. You see where I ended up. She never took the golf lessons. But anyway, it's the church has been just such a important piece for our lives, and I hope for yours too. And there's bumps along the way, and we ride the bumps, and it's part of the joy of being family. We love everybody, and look forward to many, many years ahead. So hopefully you reach deep in the pockets and help us continue not only to exist, but to grow. And things like this music today, that's an example of who we are and what this church is for the community. So please empty your pockets, pledges back there. If you have any questions, you can see me. Thanks.
Quite honestly, I feel like the hardest part of my job today is figuring out whether I'm down there or up here. We have a special offertory today that Jason's going to play for us, Ashokan Farewell, which I'm guessing many of you are familiar with this piece. It was composed by an American folk musician, Jay Unger, in 1982. Many people mistakenly believe that it was written during the Civil War era because it was popularized in Ken Burns' documentary. I think in one of the episodes it was played for over an hour, so people kind of associate it very much with that series and that time period. Unger composed the song as a goodnight or farewell waltz at the end of his annual Ashokan fiddle and dance camps that he oversaw. He describes the song as growing out of a sense of longing and loss as the camps ended each summer, which may explain the melancholy appeal that it has that really seems to touch many people deep within. Whatever our individual circumstances have been during the journey of the last 2 years, and whatever our hopes and fears may be for the future, perhaps this song can express with music those feelings and emotions for which there are no words. Here in the sanctuary, we will now gratefully receive an offering to support our church within and beyond these walls. Thank you, Jason. As I think back on March of 2020, what particularly sticks out in my mind is bringing my daughters unexpectedly home from college due to the arrival of COVID-19. I recall reassuring them and pretty much believing that they'd be back on campus in the fall and that things would be back to normal. How naive that seems in hindsight. Little did we know what was ahead or what to expect. In the early days of the pandemic, human rights activist Heather Marsh said that we are or will be going through a radical transformation. People are justly terrified, depressed, heartbroken, and hopeful all at once. All of us were entering uncharted territory, facing a new virus with so many unknowns. Over the past 2 years, we have social distanced, rushed to get a vaccine appointment, worn masks, watched lots of Netflix, Zoomed some more, worked from home, attended school online, closed and opened the church, and I won't even begin to count that cycle. It's all good. Socialized outdoors, cooked meals at home instead of eating out, and persevered as best we could. The pandemic has taught us to re-examine our priorities, to appreciate mundane things in new ways, and to truly value our connections and time spent with others. But as we try to stay positive during this time, we can't ignore the reality that the pandemic has been devastating in many, many ways, bringing on loneliness, job loss, financial difficulties, illness, both mental illness and physical illness, not to mention the many, many lives that have been lost. Fortunately, there appears to be light on the horizon, and we are hopeful for better days ahead. And while there is still much out of our control, one thing we can control during this time is our response to what is happening around us. Let us strive to emerge from the pandemic as better human beings, showing more kindness and love and humility and concern for others in all that we do. For one thing has been made clear over the last 2 years. In the words of businesswoman Kiran Mazdumar-Shaw, the greatest lesson that COVID-19 can teach humanity is that we are all in this together. Please rise as you are able and join in singing hymn number 344, A Promise Through the Ages Rings.
Peace.
legendary performer Dolly Parton. The song was born out of her pain in breaking from her business and musical partner, Porter Wagoner. And Parton stepped out onto her own path, legal action, and a tumultuous period followed. This song speaks of her joy at eventually making it through that difficult time. Light of a clear blue morning is a fitting message of hope that everything's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay.
It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for the morning. It's been a long, hard fight, but I see a brand new day dawning. I've been looking for the sunshine, 'cause I ain't seen it in so long. Everything's gonna work out fine. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a clear blue day. I can see the light of a clear I can see the light. I can see the light. Blue, blue morning.
Please join with us in singing song number 38, Morning Has Broken, and Rise as You Are Able.
Praise for
We conclude our service today with a gospel song that, like Light of a Clear Blue Morning that we just sang, brings a message of hope. The Storm is Passing Over was written by Charles Tinley, one of the founding fathers of American gospel music. Tinley wrote over 40 hymns in his lifetime, and his I'll Overcome Someday is observed to be the basis for the American civil rights anthem, We Shall Overcome. The Storm is Passing Over speaks of having courage during the metaphorical dark night, reminding us that the storm is clearing and that the morning light will appear. After all, the sun usually comes out after a storm, and sometimes even a rainbow appears. This song took on a very special meaning to the choir this past Thursday evening as we drove to rehearsal in the thunderstorm. The rain was coming down in sheets. Traffic on 81 was very slow. But all I could think about was how fitting this moment was, since we were actually living the song, being in the middle of the storm and waiting for the storm to end and knowing that the storm would end. Arriving at the church, the storm cleared and a double rainbow appeared, and I'm sure many of you saw that at your homes or wherever you were Thursday evening. Over the entrance sign along Route 11, the rainbow framed the words, "The storm is passing over." I think I'm preaching for the choir here when I say that many of us experienced a moment of grace of the universe in that moment and a real sense of peace and joy. As we look forward to better days ahead, may our hearts be full of hope that the storm is passing over. Hallelujah.
Now, as Alice Irvin extinguishes the flame, let us say together here and from our homes the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of our community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather to grow more generous in spirit and in action. If you happen to be watching us online, we hope you will consider making an offering after today's service through our webpage, uushenandoah.org. This will allow us to exercise that generosity of spirit for this self-supporting church and its many ministries which continue during this time when not all of us are able to be together physically. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh,